your immersion, you having a good time, you falling into a world and just getting lost. No, no, no! Current f***ing day!
This is a you problem, bro. Like, you're a victim, brother. You're a victim of propaganda that is distracting you from actual problems people face. Do you think the unhoused people on the street care about pronouns in Starfield? Do you think the single mom who's working 2 jobs just to keep food on the table for her 3 kids is giving a f*** about pronouns in Starfield? Those are the people that escapism is made for, by the way. The people that are gonna get the most net benefit from it are gonna be the people who have to escape from. Like, if you have a job where your boss treats you like these are the people that benefit from being able to go home and boot up Starfield in their comfy chair in front of their PC and get lost in a world for a while. And I promise you, simply being able to choose your pronouns for your character, which is a completely banal and boring aspect of the character creation process, it's not going to be the top of their list of problems, my friend, and they're not going to be up in arms about it, veins bulging, sweat beating down their face about it like you are. So, unfortunately, the woke conservatives online have committed a cardinal sin, and perhaps one of the biggest slights against me as an individual person yet, in my entire life. They have made me actually care about and, in some ways, defend a Bethesda game. Hold your gasps, okay? Hopefully you had your fainting couch around for that one, but I don't give a shit about Bethesda. I'm sorry to all you trans girlies in the audience where Fallout New Vegas is a very pivotal aspect of your personality, or any other people out there that happen to really connect with Skyrim, Morrowind, Oblivion, and whatever games, and the Fallout games, blah, blah, blah. I really like space. I always have. Ever since I was a kid, my dad bought me this big book about space, about the planets and all this kind of stuff. It was hardcover, it was big, and I read that shit like a Bible. I really enjoyed space to the point where I wanted to be an astrophysicist for one point in my life, and I actually went into a honors physics course without the prerequisite math course that I took at the same time and got a high C because I was really bad at labs, but I was really good at tests and kind of okay with homework, but, I don't like homework because I got ADHD, especially when I was a kid, so blah, 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 blah. I think space is really fucking cool. I'm a big fan of it. I want to see more space exploration. In my view, we should take away a lot of money from the defense budget while still allowing us to be the most powerful military the face of the world has ever seen. We currently pay more than the next 8 countries combined, and most of which are our allies, for our military. We could take some of that money in our discretionary budget and reallocate it over to, one, social services that help people on Earth, but also to NASA. Because it's very pog. I'm not a big fan of SpaceX because of, the fact that it's a private corporation that is currently kind of like taking the place of NASA in some ways, because NASA has been historically routinely defunded ever since we won the space race, at least on planting a flag on the moon against Russia, because, the entire point of the space race was to wave our dick around and show people how big it was compared to Russia at the time. And then after that, the United States of America stopped giving a shit. But anyway, so these are just some of my accolades to show that I should give a fuck about a game like Starfield, but I don't. And part of it is because I was burned by No Man's Sky when it came out. Apparently it's better now. I did try it after a lot of the patches came through and people like it a lot more and think it's a lot better. I still didn't like it very much. Space games generally for me have always felt a little bit lacking, except for like Kerbal Space Program, which is a space game for sure, but it's definitely more difficult than Starfield, and it's a different kind of gameplay. And Subnautica is probably one of the best space sci-fi games I've ever played, but that's because it takes place majority in water, not in space, right? So I was burned before, and now Starfield is coming out, and it's Bethesda, and I've been watching Joseph Anderson's playthrough of it and 39 Dapp's playthrough of it. I don't think I would enjoy it. There are a lot of people who are enjoying it. From what I could tell so far, I trust Joseph Anderson's opinions on a lot of games a lot of the time. And there seem to be some things that don't look that great to me, and some things that do. So I should theoretically like Starfield a lot, but I don't. And now I'm being forced to talk about it, and now I'm being forced, against my will, gun to my head, to have a take on the game. Even though Baldur's Gate 3 is Game of the Year for 2023, and if any other game wins, it's because it's just a popularity contest and not actually based on the objective merits of video games and how they're designed and how they're written and how they're played. But anyway, now I have to give a shit about this. And this dude, who is either clearly mentally unwell or looking for attention and Twitter ad revenue because he's got a blue check, or both, a mixture of the two, in order to get, those clicks and views, has had some things to say about it, and I've given my critiques on the game. I could give more of my critiques if I played the game, but I have no interest in it, so, I'm just going to look at other people's reviews and see what I can surmise from what seem to be the agreed upon problems with the game and yada, yada, yada. But this person, has a take as well, so let's see what's going on with that. So this is very important. We're talking directly to Bethesda. Let's see. Todd Howard, are you on the horn? You better be paying attention.
I just want to say something to you, Bethesda. Just want to say a little something. There is nothing I love more. Taking my headphones off. Fuck that. Bethesda, there is nothing I love more than to sit down, comfy chair, turn on my PC, fire up a brand new RPG, lose myself, think, oh my God, just think of this world. Just think of all the planets I can visit.
I agree. I think that would be really cool. I'm in a comfy chair. I got my in-ear headphones on. You know, I'm at my PC. I'll be playing Baldur's Gate 3 because that's a good-ass RPG. Now, it's a CRPG, top-down. You know, you got to handle a bunch of different stuff than you do in Starfield, which is, you know, one character you're playing with, though I think you can have a crew. But, you know, I get the vibe, you know? I get immersed in the world. The writing in the game is really good. The character design is really good. The mechanics are very, very clean, buttery smooth. There are some issues that I have with the game, and there are some issues mechanically with the game that they're working on fixing, but it's very comfy. You know, we stand a based and comfy-pilled king, okay? But that's just the preamble.
All the immersive things that I can get involved with, all the fights, all the relationships, all the people I meet, all the places I go. I'm so excited to go there. And you know, I love nothing more than, with all of that laid out in front of me, I love nothing more than to be dragged out at every fucking conceivable opportunity so you can fucking current day us.
Hate being current dayed. You know, for me, I don't live in the current day. I live at least 3 days ahead of the current day. You know, it's like that one guy in the TikTok said, I split my days into several days, okay? You know, I'm going to bed 12 a.m., waking up 6 a.m., and then I take a 30-minute nap. And then I wake up 6:30 a.m. to 12 p.m., and that's 2 days. Double that, that's 4 days. And, you know, double that again for the course of the week, the whole month, and I'm beating your ass. I'm way ahead of you. That's me, okay? So I'm a little bit built different than this guy. But listen, hate being current dayed.
Sorry, did you want to get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, guess what? Fucking pronouns! Fucking gender ambiguity! Fucking current day Californian shit! That's all we fucking know!
Jesus Christ, he's frothing, bro. Bro is triggered. Can somebody tell the Thumb-Thumbs from Spy Kids to come collect their man? This is not a proportional response, brother. You gotta figure your shit out. Fucking pronouns! Bro is mad at basic linguistics. So for those of you who don't know, in the character creation screen in Starfield, you can make your character look like whatever you want within the game's engine. And at one point, when you make your name, I believe, you can choose the pronouns that your character uses. So if you identify as a woman, it is likely that you would make a woman character and then use she, her pronouns. And the plus side to this, for those of you who don't know, maybe there's some non-gamers in the chat, that would allow, in Starfield, which has a lot of dialogue, it is a dialogue-heavy game, because it's an RPG, and some of the selling points have been on the dialogue as well, the dialogue will change based on the pronoun you choose, and then the NPCs in the game that talk to you will talk to your character with those pronouns, and because of that, the game becomes more immersive. Because it's not just, you know, ambiguous, and it's not like your character is like an unspeaking Giga Chad like Link from Legend of Zelda. You choose responses in the game and they change how the dialogue goes, and it serves to make you feel more immersed in the game. It serves to make you feel like, oh, I can like kind of like astral project my mind into the mind of the character that I'm playing and role-playing as, because it's a role-playing game, an RPG. Now, of course, if I astral projected my mind into this dude's mind, his head would frankly explode. Because the sheer size of my mind, because of the intellectual capacity within it that I have, would just be far too much. You know, you'd be like, oh, can't handle it, and, you know, move it away with my tiger blood. Because, like, I'm not pressed about this. And you could say, like, oh, well, conure, you know, you're a crazy SJW woke lord, right? Like, you use any pronouns. You don't identify with any gender identity. And also all of them at once. Like, you know, you obviously it wouldn't affect you. But for the grand majority of people playing this game, they're probably going to make a self-insert character and change it up to make it cooler than they are in real life. And then they're probably just going to go along with the pronouns that they use. Like he, him, or she, her. Or God forbid, might want to hold on to your seat for this one, they, them. Okay, just make sure the police didn't come when I uttered that phrase. So like, it makes no sense to me. He's mad about a feature that, and he says it breaks his immersion. He's mad about a feature that is literally meant to make your immersion better in the dialogue. That's what that option is for. And if it's not working on you, for as many bugs as there are going to be, and are in Starfield, God bless all hail Todd Howard, he can never make a mistake. And he makes every single game single-handedly on his own. This one is actually a feature and not a bug, okay? But we're mad about it. And the reason why we're mad about it is because we are not well mentally. Or we're looking for outrage clicks to get views and money. And you know, he's getting the views. Now, all publicity is good publicity, even negative publicity, and the majority of the publicity this guy is getting is people absolutely roasting him. In many ways better than me, because I just called him a pussy boy and told him to grow up. Like, he got the views, so maybe he parlays it into more success. You know, maybe he gets a good chunk of Twitter ad revenue from this, but I don't think it's worth the mental cost. But anyway, let's continue. Sorry. I cut him off at his most pivotal and important objection to the game.
You can fucking current dayers! Sorry, did you want to get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, guess what? Fucking pronouns!
Guess what?
Fucking gender ambiguity! Fucking current day Californian shit!
Because there's no gender ambiguity in real life. You know, oftentimes, of course, Starfield, it's a sci-fi world, it's fantasy, right? So it's gonna have stuff that doesn't exist in our real life. However, one of the keys to making an RPG feel more immersive is implementing enough stuff from our real life into the RPG and then augmenting it to the, you know, aesthetic and systems within your particular world. Be it fantasy and magic, or sci-fi and high-tech shit, which might as well be magic, frankly. So, like, this is real-life shit. Motherfuckers is using pronouns in real life. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. And that bubble seems to be fairly fragile, as it would turn out, if this is how we're reacting to basic linguistics. But those pronouns, they exist. We use them every day. And you even use a singular they, them. Imagine this, all right? Bear with me for a second. Let's say you are at a cafe. And this ain't no liberal cafe. This is a goddamn red-blooded American cafe where they serve Black Rifle coffee and they put horse semen in your coffee to get you extra testosterone. That would actually give you estrogen, apparently. Or is it the urine? I have no idea. Anyway, it's a goddamn red-blooded American cafe and you see a person wearing a hoodie and jeans. And these are like regular jeans. They're not skinny jeans, whatever. This person is fairly ambiguous in how they look. It's hard to tell exactly if this is a man or a woman. And let's say they drop their wallet after paying. It slips out of their pocket. They didn't realize it. They go over to like the drink station or whatever. You can still see them, but you don't know anything about them. You don't know their name. You don't know what they look like in their face. You've only seen them from behind with their hood up because they're wearing a hoodie. You can't even see if they have long hair or nothing. And somebody asks you, they see you pick up the wallet, because they also saw, you know, a wallet on the ground, but they didn't see it drop. And they ask you, oh, do you know whose wallet that is? I noticed it was on the ground. Is that yours? And then you go and point, and you're like, no, it's not mine. And you go and point at the person in the hoodie over by the drink station. You say, oh, no, it's theirs. It's their wallet. Because how could you know if it's a man or a woman? You can't say he or her. It's his, it's hers. You might make a guess in that way, based on maybe other signifiers, but there's no way you actually know this, and a lot of people, even people who aren't very woke on this topic, do this. Use the singular they, them, their pronouns. It's their wallet. You've done this before in your life, even if you get mad about it now. Basic grammar, basic linguistics, very simple stuff. Or if the wallet is already there and the person has already left, so you have literally no concept of what they look like, even from behind with the hoodie up, yeah, that's true as well. And like, obviously you could say, like, oh, there's an ID in it. There's no ID in it, okay? There's no identifying information in the wallet. It's just cash, okay? It's just got, you know, Abraham Lincoln and Andrew Jackson in there, all right? Those are the only faces you got, and unless it's actually those two risen from the dead, you have no idea whose it is, right? So say you're an employee there. You find this wallet. There's no identifying information in it. You have no idea who the hell it was. You didn't help them. It was a while ago. They had already left. You go to your boss, and your boss is like, oh, well, we have to figure out whose wallet this is, and we have to give it back to them. Because you have literally no way to know if it belongs to somebody who is using he, him, she, her pronouns. It's happened. You know, you might have to go to the confessional next time you're at Mass and say 10 Hail Marys after talking to the Father there. But you've done it. I'm sorry.
Because we're boring! We're so fucking boring!
Like, motherfucker's veins is bulging in his egghead. That shell is beginning to crack, or maybe it already has. He's malding. Well, he's already malded. That happened a while ago. And listen, I got an egghead too, okay? You can see my ovular shape, okay? Listen, you can make fun of me too. This is one egghead to another. But, like, he is this pressed over pronouns in a video game. And he's saying it's boring. Like, I can promise you, Starfield is not boring because you're allowed to choose your pronouns. Starfield is boring because it's a Bethesda property. And they peaked at Oblivion or Morrowind and Fallout New Vegas, which is not necessarily peaking because those came out at different times. But you know what I mean. So I'm telling you right now, it's not boring because, you know, there's current year pronouns that have always existed in human language, though some languages don't have pronouns, at least not gendered ones. It's boring because it's a Bethesda game, and you have bad taste in video games. If you want a good RPG, play Baldur's Gate 3. However, you might have an aneurysm because there's actually more customizability in that game when it comes to pronouns that you think that a character shouldn't have. Because you can give your woman character a penor, or you can give your man character a vagoober. Try to be PC here because this guy might freak out if he hears this. You can do that, right? And you can customize your character in a variety of ways from that too. And the game is frankly gay as hell. And it's good. You can romance and sex most of the main cast, which might be a spoiler for some, and it might be the reason some people just bought it right now. Anyway.
We can't see past our own fucking reflection!
It's like, that might be the case, man, but that's because you're looking in a mirror right now. You are currently projecting. You're talking to yourself in the mirror. Normal people don't think this way, my guy. I'm sorry to tell you this. Normal people aren't up in arms in the Starfield customization screen because you can choose to give your character whatever pronouns you want in a fucking sci-fi game with technological advancements so advanced that we can't even possibly fathom getting to them in our lifetimes. And definitely not your lifetime, because you're substantially older than me by the way it looks. So, I'm just saying, normal people aren't thinking this way, my friend, and perhaps this could be a wake-up call for you. Perhaps all this negative attention you're receiving online, and people making funny jokes about you, gives you some time for some actual self-reflection in one of the mirrors that hasn't broken. You know, maybe you can get a new mirror and put it up on the wall to cover up that hole in the drywall you put in after you were done filming this. And, you know, maybe that one, you can actually do some self-reflection, right? But, like, this is not a normal person response. So the fact that you're saying we can't see past our own reflections, it's kind of a you problem. It's not a normal people problem. Normal people problems is working 2 jobs to pay the bills. Normal people problems is not getting a raise and having to work in unsafe conditions at work because they don't have any power or leverage in negotiation with their boss. You know, normal people problems is having difficulty keeping the food on the table for your kids because of the aforementioned problems. Normal people problems is having difficulty getting a good enough job to not have to deal with those issues because of our pay-to-win, DLC structured, for-profit education system in this country. The richest country the face of the earth has ever seen, right? That's normal people shit. Normal people shit is not getting mad because pronouns in Starfield make your veins bulge, perhaps in multiple different areas. And the interesting thing about that is that this guy only cares about this shit either because it's getting him money, but also / because he's been propagandized to care about this kind of inconsequential bullshit that frankly makes the game better because it helps you with your immersion. And he's distracted by it because of people that push propaganda that he fell for beforehand, right? That's the entire fucking point of all this bullshit. Motherfuckers didn't care about trans people 5 years ago. Donald Trump literally said it live at a rally. He said, oh, I talk about cutting taxes. You know, people go, yeah, well, whatever. And then I talk about trans people and they lose their fucking minds. They go buck wild. They start frothing at the mouth. And it's like, you know, 5 years ago, you didn't even know what it was. He literally said this to your face. I'm assuming you're more of a supporter of Donald Trump than Joe Biden anyway, if you have to make a choice about American politics, because it doesn't seem like this person's American. But, like, these are not real people problems. And you're being distracted to give a shit about pronouns in a video game rather than the fact that you don't got money to pay your bills, right? And maybe this guy does, because maybe he's doing all right. It seems like he's a fucking oi bruv, or living in Australia and fucking Straya. So maybe he doesn't have those problems. Maybe it does, you know? We got a lot of collectibles in here. Seems like we got the disposable income. So maybe not. But a lot of people who fall into this trap are literally being, distracted by shiny keys in front of their face by politicians who are literally trying to get you to care about this shit instead of the fact that they are voting for tax cuts for the wealthiest people in this country and also union busting and also opposing a minimum wage and also making sure your working conditions are as bad as possible so that you work the most hours for the least pay in the worst conditions possible and the people who employ you make more money and increase the bottom line even though they're doing exceptionally well, right? We could fix all of those problems by taxing the wealthiest people while allowing them to remain fairly wealthy and then redistributing those tax revenues into a variety of social safety net programs that the rest of the fucking developed world and industrialized countries that are comparable to the United States have been able to figure out with less money, with less influence, with less power. They've been able to figure out, right? So like, this is real world, real problem shit. And I get it if you want to go into Starfield and escape those real world problems, though frankly, in Starfield, I don't know how much of that there is, but in a lot of these sci-fi, dystopian even, I don't know how dystopian Starfield is, but like in Cyberpunk 2077, for instance, or whatever the fuck it was, in a lot of these sci-fi or even fantasy setting video games, there's a lot of politics involved in there too, The wealthier people, the corpos in Cyberpunk, have gotten so much power and so much money that they can now hire people as mercenaries to do their bidding, as if they're their own micro-governments inside of the broader governmental structure, and there's poverty abundant, right? There are people who have to turn to, like, unsafe cybernetic and cyborg augments in order to get a leg up on the competition in the crabs of the bucket scenario that is being one of those dudes that goes out and does jobs for the corpos, and you're completely disposable, and you're treated like shit. Right? It's the same for a game like Baldur's Gate. Spoiler alert, I guess. There are like literal poor people in the game that you have a choice to be able to help or hurt, take advantage of or not. And that might not seem political to you, but it is. Why are those people poor? Well, if you play the game, you might find out why. Why are they getting up to criminal activity? Well, if you play the game, you might find out their motivations by talking to them, by helping them, right? That's political. And I'm sorry if you don't see it that way, but it is. Every time you see a homeless person on the street, if God forbid you're in California, you simply seeing a person who is unhoused is political in that moment to you. By looking at that person and perceiving them as unhoused, you have just done a political thing. Because the only reason that person is unhoused is because of political reasons. We have the money and resources, and we live in a post-scarcity world. We have an abundance of food that corporations throw out instead of giving away for free, because giving it away for free would hurt their bottom line, and having hungry people that are able to give them money for it is how they make their money. We have the money to build the public housing. We have the space to build the houses for people so that homelessness is no longer a thing people have to deal with, which is not only good for the homeless people, the people who are unhoused, but it's also good for the people that worry about potentially belligerent homeless people or feel bad about seeing homeless people on the street and would rather not, like me, and would rather see these policies implemented that allow them to get homes, allow them to get their shit together where the system has failed them. Like, simply looking at a homeless person is a political act because they are only there because of political choices made by people who are in power. Anyway, this is a long rant about this, and it's longer than I expected it to be so far, so let's continue this.
That's the level of our narcissism here at Bethesda Western Game Company.
That's the level of our narcissism, where the game lets you create your own character that you can self-insert on or create a different character to yourself. And they allow you to choose the pronouns that that character uses, much the same way that you have pronouns that you use, and that's somehow narcissistic from the company, and not... Like, the only people I could see being narcissistic about that would be, like, people who are happy about it because they get to choose the pronouns that they want to use, but that's not narcissism. It's just good game design. and far be it for me to, accuse Bethesda of good game design.
Fuck your immersion! Fuck you having a good time! Fuck you falling into a world and just getting lost! No! Current fucking day!
Like, this is a you problem, bro. You're living in an alternate reality. And it is potentially not of your own doing, unless you're literally trying to get lolcow clicks right now. Like, you're a victim, brother. You're a victim of propaganda that is distracting you from actual problems people face. Do you think the unhoused people on the street that you pass by, and hopefully if you have it, toss some extra, cash to that you have, do you think those people care about pronouns in Starfield? Do you think the single mom who's working 2 jobs just to keep food on the table for her 3 kids is giving a fuck about pronouns in Starfield? Those are the people that escapism is made for, by the way. Anybody can engage in escapism, but the people that are going to get the most net benefit from it are going to be the people who have shit to escape from, right? Like, if you have a shit job where your boss treats you like shit, makes you work more hours than he should with unpaid overtime that should be illegal, but somehow he gets away with in bad conditions, like, these are the people that benefit from being able to go home and boot up Starfield in their comfy chair in front of their PC and get lost in a world for a while. And I promise you, simply being able to choose your pronouns for your character, which is a completely banal and boring aspect of the character creation process, it's not going to be the top of their list of problems, my friend, and they're not going to be up in arms about it, veins bulging, sweat beating down their face about it like you are. Like, they're not becoming a fried egg in front of our very eyes because of it. You got to look inward.
Fuck off! You're boring! You're fucking
You're
dull!
fucking boring!
You have nothing to say!
It's like the best way, too. It's the best way to criticize something that you don't actually have a criticism for. Just call it boring. Just call it annoying. It's the best way. No, I'm not mad. I'm just annoyed because it's boring. The easiest way to say something without saying nothing.
You are a one-hived mind twat waffle!
Says the person who is literally acting like an NPC. Before talking about this on stream, we were going over the NPC TikTok phenomenon, and this motherfucker is probably the most adventurous NPC I have seen yet. You're just touting the party line right now. You're just agreeing with the hegemonic power holders in our society. The people in power want you to be saying this shit. They're putting through propaganda that they pay people to craft in order to get you to say this kind of shit and think this way. That's NPC behavior, brother. How is it being an NPC to be a trans person and go against the expectations of society? One would think that the NPC would be the person who goes along to get along with the rest of society and doesn't even question why they're doing what they're doing. Trans people literally do the exact opposite. Like, any gender non-conforming person is literally doing the exact opposite. So how are people who don't get mad about pronoun selection in a character creation menu the NPCs here? Like, I've got some more bad news for you. And the thing about this is he might be a good NPC because he's probably not going to break character given all this information that he's not getting just from me. He's probably not going to see this video or my tweet on it. But from other people that he's definitely seen, he's probably not going to break character. So kudos for him. You know, there are people out there that would not be able to keep up the act for that long, but he's able to keep on the dialogue tree. He's able to keep on the NPC talking points. And you know, you got to give him credit for that. You know, probably better writing than the Starfield NPCs.
That's all you fucking are! And you wonder why people are getting so fucking sick and tired!
Are they, though?
You take everything we love, all our immersions, all our fantasies, all our escapism, and you just can't help shovel your dog shit, fucking crap ideology into everything!
I think I got some spit through the screen on my face from that one. God damn, man, is frothing. He is frothing.
Every single solitary fucking thing!
God damn it, these games gave me more choice and I'm fucking mad about it. I'll tell you what, bro, I ain't never seen nothing like this before in my life. What is bro waffling about? Well, he's twat waffling about it, apparently. Literally seething. Do you see this? Do you see this? Literally seething. And right back to the game. I gotta boot it up again. Let's give it another shot. Why not? We'll give it the old college try. Nothing but bending over for good old Todd Howard and his big ol' buggy schlong. Todd Howard can do no wrong. He's never done anything wrong. He single-handedly creates every single Bethesda game and also has nothing to do with it if it's bad. So, and I've said all this shit. I'm just ranting at this point because one, it's late, and two, I'm just talking. You know me, just always talking. Always yapping. But like, aside from calling this guy a pussy boy and clowning on him, I think there's also a broader conversation to be had here. And I said this on stream like a stream or two ago, and it has only continued to be reinforced as true, in that if you are a person who is writing, crafting, creating a fantasy or sci-fi setting, and that setting only includes heterosexual, cisgender people, mind you, in a world where either magic is real, And motherfuckers can just shapeshift into whatever they want. You know, a man can shapeshift into a woman, or into an inanimate object like a picture frame on the wall, or into an animal. Or in a sci-fi setting where technological advancement has progressed to the point where you can venture into space, into other planets, into other planetary systems, into other potential galaxies, where you have robots that may or may not be sentient, where you have cyborg parts that people can mix and match. If everybody in that game is cisgender and heterosexual, you are pushing a political agenda. If every single person in your fantasy or sci-fi world is strictly heterosexual and cisgender, you are pushing a political agenda. Not me, for living in reality with the fact that trans people exist and anybody can use whatever pronouns they want. Like, the idea that if you can literally change your genitals, plug and play cock and balls, which frankly I would like, because, you know, I'm fine with the gear I got, but it might be cool to be able to switch it out every now and again, you know, and just store it away while I'm wearing a certain outfit, and then put it back on when it's time, right? In that world, the idea that trans people don't exist is absurd. The idea that gay people don't exist is absurd. Because at that point, we are at a level of technological advancement or magical ability that every single goalpost that right-wingers will move, arguing over the existence of trans people, will likely be possible, right? It would likely be possible that you could change your chromosomes, right? You could change your gametes. In current day, which is, you know, terrifying for some people, you can change your hormones, right? You can suppress the ones you got and replace them with other ones. You can get a variety of surgeries that make your physicality align more with what you want to look like. And for a lot of people, because, you know, a lot of people are binary trans people, more like the gender identity, the traits that people typically expect from them, because it makes it easier for you to be seen that way. It makes you feel better. It's all it is. It's all good. People want to be happy in their own skin. They want to feel good. Not really a problem, as long as they're not hurting nobody. The idea that gay people, trans people wouldn't exist, that's the political agenda. A sci-fi or fantasy setting, having gay or trans people in it is not the political agenda. That's a logical extension of our current existence, given additional factors that we can't even fathom actually achieving in real life that these games have, that these games contain, or books, movies, whatever. So, like, yeah, man, you can literally shapeshift into whatever being you want or modify your cyborg body to have whatever genitals you want, but everybody's totally still straight and definitely not trans in any way. Totally, dude. Surely there are no trans people in Cyberpunk 2077, or in the actual Cyberpunk movie, or in One Piece, you know, a fantasy world that I've been watching recently. Not the Netflix adaptation, though I heard that it's actually not that bad, contrary to a lot of people's worries. I don't understand it, man. But actually, apparently there's more, which is really funny. So, like, he continued playing the game, and this might be mild spoilers. But obviously, after that whole rant, after getting mad about pronouns, which we assume is right in the beginning of the game when you create your character, after you've done a little bit of mining in the prologue, you get to create your character, he sees the he, him, or whatever, and he fucking has a shit fit. He goes back to playing the game like the good old cuck for Bethesda he is, and this happens. So, apparently, we've got a trans character in the game, good heavens to Betsy. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, hallowed be thy name, save me from this wretched accosting that the devil has, you know, delivered it unto me. There's a trans person here, and now he's mad about it. Now he's pressed about it.
Fuck off. Fuck off. It's infected everywhere.
Nerves kicking in.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
Bro, what was that about you getting knocked out of your immersion? Bro is so immersed in the game that he's literally responding to an NPC in real life. He believes that his human person is actually having a verbal conversation with the NPC in front of him, that he literally gets mad at something that the NPC said outside of the context of what he had just said in real life. Like, he's literally so immersed.
It's infected everywhere.
Nerves kicking in.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
And you could say it's like, oh, haha, funny, and whatever. And like, a good streamer would be able to try to parlay that kind of thing into a funny moment. And it's certainly funny for us. If that was his intention, you know, whatever. Respect the hustle. But I don't know, man. There's a lot of people out here. So even if he is not genuine about it, and he's just, you know, trying to look for those right-wing grift bucks, which are easy to find, there's going to be a lot of people that aren't doing that grifting shit and actually believe this shit. And it's still a problem at that point, because we don't like to be narcissistic around here. Certainly, you know, Thumb here doesn't like to be narcissistic. So we're not going to only talk about this guy. There's a lot of people that will agree with this guy because they're also victims of propaganda. That they're also victims of Republican propaganda. And it's just funny. Anyway, we'll end off on another triggered right-winger. Sensei Rules, aka Spener.
That's it, folks. Starfield has gone woke. They ask you your pronouns at the beginning of the game. Every video game nowadays is so woke. Cyberpunk, they make you give your female character a big dick. Like, you don't have to, but they give you the option, so you kind of have to. Like, of course I'm going to do that. Of course I'm going to give her a big dick. Like Hogwarts Legacy, for example. It's like a kid's game, and they're using wands. What are wands? Dildos. They're dildos. It's just wokeness everywhere. Like, you go on Instagram, you go on Twitter, and the entire following tab is just attractive, sculpted Greek gods of men with beautiful eyes, and they're like gentle, but they're rough enough, you know, and they have a little bit of stubble and a perfect jawline and just like beautiful pictorial. It's like, just stop forcing your agenda on me. I don't want to see it. When I go on Tinder, all I see are guys. Like, when's the wokeness gonna stop? That's it, folks. Starfield has gone.
I love Spener so much, dude. Friend of the show, Spener. Sensei Rules. Give him a follow. Here's the link. Love this guy. Musician, good at impressions as well. TikToker, Twitterer. It's good. It's good.